Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about Euphoria Season 2, Episode 6. Okay, so I want to start off by talking about Nate, Cassie, and Maddie, like that whole drama first, because that was the bulk of the episode. Early in the episode, we see Nate, and we see that he's actually pretty happy that his dad is out of the house. Since Nate has been in a power struggle with Cal like almost his entire life, with Cal out of the house, he feels somewhat relieved and he feels like he can breathe. He doesn't have to keep up such of a big facade. But then that all kind of changed when he checks his phone and sees that Cassie has called him 32 times and Maddie has called him 0 times. So that pretty much means that Maddie is so mad that she can't even call him and essentially cuss him out. She's so mad that she's boiling and she's not even saying anything. So that makes him worry because she's the one with the tape, which is a problem. But anyways, and we also see that Maddie is talking to Kat. Kat's in a diner with her boyfriend. Maddie's at her job babysitting. And she's talking to Kat, saying like she wants to kill Cassie. Like she's so mad, she doesn't know what to do. She's talking to Kat. Kat's on the phone laughing and cackling, and the scene was so awkward because I know you have your phone call, but if we're like sitting here, I'm gonna need you to cut it off at like eventually. I need you to cut it off after like a minute and a half or something like that. Be like, okay, I'm gonna call you back in a few. Bye. I'm here with Ethan. She didn't do that at all. She just kept talking and laughing and everything. And then once she got off the phone, she didn't even want to talk to poor Ethan. She literally told him that she had a sickness. And then when he called her out on not having said sickness, she gaslit him into feeling bad for questioning it. And I hate the direction they're taking with this character, because what was that scene? In the first season, you feel like she was much more involved in the storyline, and she wasn't as snarky, she wasn't as mean or pessimistic, and she didn't gaslight like that. She was just trying to find a way to come into her own. But then once she got with Ethan, now she's very snarky, she's pessimistic, and it's just too much. I feel like her character is written by two different people for these 2 seasons, and I'm not really liking it because there's not much continuation. Anyways, let's go back to Nate. We see a scene with him talking to his mom, and we find out like 4 or 5 different things. 1, we find out that she likes Cassie better than Maddie, which we kind of already knew. They didn't like Maddie anyways. 2, she was worried that he would get Maddie pregnant and then she would keep the baby out of spite, which is saying, Marcia, that's what you did. Don't project. I don't care what anyone says. Marcia got pregnant on purpose. That's just me. That's how I feel. I'm gonna take it as fact. You got pregnant on purpose. I'm so sorry. Anyways, and then 3, we find out that Nate's mom knows he choked Maddie, and she literally does not care at all. She, high-key, low-key, cheered her mom, saying, oh, well, you were protecting me and everything, and I was so happy when you pulled her off, like your son choked somebody. But anyways. And you see a scene where she's talking to him, and she's saying, like, what happened when you were younger? When you were younger than 8, you were so sweet, and you would come in and you would kiss us goodnight, and you would be a nice kid, essentially. But then one day, you just stopped doing that. You became quiet, you became mean, and you just became dark in general. And I want to see more of that storyline because I feel like it's bigger than the tapes. Yes, he saw the tapes, which is not going to have a positive effect on your life, seeing your dad do stuff with other people, but I don't think it would harbor that much hate that he has in his heart. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what that was. If y'all know, if y'all have an idea, go in the comments, tell me. Anyways, after this conversation, Nate goes upstairs and he goes looking through Cal's stuff. Because even though he doesn't care about Cal, he does want to check up on the tapes because he doesn't need any of it getting out necessarily, because his dad has a business and he wants the business one day. So Nate wants to own the business and work at the business, and it's not going to be a good business if people have seen those tapes. While he's looking, he finds a gun, which was, when I was looking at that scene, I was just like, ah, the gun. Anyways, all while Nate is doing all of this, drinking with his mom, going upstairs, finding the gun, while he's doing all that, we see Cassie going absolutely crazy. She's talking to her mom crazy. She's yelling at her mom. She's yelling at her sister. She is trying to explain why she did what she did. She's trying to say, well, they weren't together, so it's no big deal. And her mom's like, it's the principle of it all. You did something wrong. And she's like crying and saying she wants to kill herself and die. I was like, oh, girl, go take a nap. I don't know what to tell you, because Cassie was doing too much. That's all I have to say. Cassie was doing too much. Anyways, we cut to Maddie's scenes at this point. And we see that she's at her babysitting job and she gets a call from the mother, Sam, saying, I'll be home in 15 minutes. Then you see the camera pan and you see the, what is it called? You see the clock, like an alarm clock. And when I was looking at it, I was wondering why. Just why were they showing us this clock? Because when it comes to TV shows like this, they're not going to show you something because it's irrelevant. They're showing you something because they want you to see something or anticipate something. So I was looking at the time. I was like, okay, 9:37. I think that's what it said. And I kept looking at it, paused it for a little bit, and I was like, there's a camera in there. So I wish I had a picture of it. I'm probably going to put it on the thumbnail. There's the camera, and you see a little dot on top of it, like on the side, and there's a camera in there. I think that's the reason why they showed that clock. I think Sam has been watching Maddie go in the closet and try on stuff. She's been watching, and it's hidden. Maddie doesn't know, obviously. I think that's what's gonna happen. Anyways, Sam arrives home. Maddie greets her at the door, and eventually, Maddie tells her about all her problems with Nate. And you find out that Sam and Maddie are a lot alike. And she's still a lot alike of Cassie as well. You see them talking, and she's like, it's no problem that you're dating guys like this at 18. If you're dating guys like this at 40, then we have a big problem. So, after that, we see Maddie drive home. And little does she know, Nate is sitting there laying in wait with the gun. She gets home, she unchanges, she gets in whatever she got in, and then she sees him. She is scared because she obviously sees the gun. And he sits her down on the bed, he's talking to her, pretty much asking where that tape is, and she's like, I don't know. She's lying, we know this, we know she had it. But she is completely lying. And then Nate, he empties all the bullets, except for one, and essentially plays Russian roulette, points it at her head, then points it at his, and makes her watch. Keeps clicking it, so that she finally says where the tape is. That intimidation that he did, that was just disgusting. Like, Nate, can you be okay for once? And then afterwards, when she's crying on the bed, he's like, it's fine, I emptied all the bullets. Like, that doesn't make it any better because you, first of all, you pointed the gun at me. Second of all, if there was a bullet, you would have been pointing it at yourself and shot yourself in my bedroom that I reside in. Don't do that. Anyways, after that, he drives to Jules' house, gives her the tape, and essentially apologizes, saying he's sorry for all he did, he was trying to protect his dad, he was sorry for everything, and he also says that everything he said on that messaging app was true. Jules gets out, she watches the tape, yeah. Then he calls Cassie, and he tells her, pack your bags, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And of course, the first thing she does is get up. She gets her suitcase, she puts clothes in there, her toiletries and crap, and she walks herself right out the door, and the poor mom was just sitting there watching her. And all I got to say is y'all's parents are terrible. I know it's a TV show, and I know terrible parenting is kind of the point of the show. But I wish in high school too. Oh, I wish I'd just pack a bag and walk out the door and go with my boyfriend. My mom don't hit people. She doesn't do that physical abuse, but the way I would be on the floor, like, I would be dead. And I'm sorry too. I wouldn't let my kid go. I'd be like, where do you think you're going? Oh, I'm going, boyfriend. Nate's picking me up. No, go back upstairs. I don't know who you thought you were, but you're not that. Anyways, you see her get in the car and she's all happy, like, oh, he picked me. Anyways, they go back to his house. He brings her suitcases and stuff up to his room. Marsha, his mother, sees it all and she's perfectly fine with it. And I would say again, if it was my house and I saw my son just bring a girl up to his room with suitcases, no. Y'all gotta get up out of here. I don't know what to tell you. You just have to get out of here because you're not doing any of that in my house. No. And on top of that, like, she has a suitcase. I mean, she's gonna stay for a couple of days. Baby, you gotta go to school tomorrow. I don't know what to tell you. We can't do this. I'm gonna call your mama and she gonna go pick you up. We're not doing this. Overall, the whole Maddie, Cassie, Nate, and Jules situation was absolutely devastating to me because Jules got some level of closure. She got the tape. Cassie got exactly what she wanted. She was the one who went home with them at the end of the night. But then Maddie was abused both physically and mentally. She got a gun held up to her head. She was the one who was just mentally and physically tricked into giving up the tape. And he just discarded her like she was nothing. And I think this scene, more than anything, made it abundantly clear that he never cared for her whatsoever. I think we all kind of knew this, but since she didn't fit perfectly into his cookie cutter, very typical lifestyle that he wants for himself, he never valued her as an entire person, which is just so sad. The whole scene, it was so sad. He prefers someone like Cassie because Cassie is easily moldable. She changes herself to fit what Nate would like. As to where Maddie is more independent, she comes from a different culture overall, and she moves differently than her. And you can just totally see he just never valued her. We finally get some more scenes with Lexi and Fesco, and we find out that they've been hanging out a little bit, and we also find out that Lexi is worried about putting on her play because obviously it has some storylines from real life. I am so ready to see that episode. I just need to see the content. But anyways, while they're sitting on the couch and they're vibing and they're singing and watching this movie, you see Faye in the background with the trash. When I saw her, I was like, okay, what's going to happen with this situation? She goes outside to throw out the trash where her boyfriend is waiting on her, and she finds out that the police are looking into Fez and Ashtray because, what was it? The drug dealer Mouse went missing, and they're trying to figure out what happened to him. I'm very interested in this storyline because I don't know what's going to happen with this. I'm really worried because I don't want anything to happen to Fez or Ashtray. But anyway, we're gonna jump back. At the very, very start of the episode, we saw Rue struggling to eat a Jolly Rancher, and it's obvious that she is, going through withdrawals. So she's sick, she can't function properly, she can barely keep down fluids, she is not functioning well. And we also find out that the rehab can't get her in for at least another week, which is a problem because she is hurting. And while she's in bed, she's thinking about all the bad things she said over those last couple of days. And you also see her call Ollie and apologize, and he forgives her, which was a very good moment. And he decides to come over and cook dinner with them and just hang. He comes over, it was really good interaction. He was talking to Gia and making sure Gia felt validated in her feelings, which is the first time we've seen someone make sure Gia's okay, make sure Gia feels okay about the situation. So that was a good scene. But then at the end of the episode, while they're all asleep, Ali is gone at this point, but while the kids are asleep, you see Rue's mother talking to the rehab facility and saying, pretty much begging for a place in the rehab, saying that she doesn't want her daughter to die, please give her help, but the rehab does not have a spot. And that was the end of Rue's part in this. For predictions of the next few episodes, really, I have none. But I do think Samantha, that's her name, the mom of, the family that Maddie babysits for, I do think she has cameras in the house. I do kind of sense a kind of sexual vibe from the two, but we'll see. I also think something's going to happen to Fez or Ashtray, because Fez didn't appear to be in the promo at the play, but we'll see. And also, I do have to say, I do not like how patchy this episode was. I liked episode 5 where it was pretty much like one storyline straight through. This episode, it was jumpy and the timeline is off for me. I feel like last season, it's like you would see an episode and the episode would be the next week. And the next episode is the next week or a month away or something like that. But it was always at the same time, essentially. But in this episode, I'm very confused because in Nate's scene, for instance, Cal peed on the ground episode 3, I want to say, and left. Why is it episode 6 and the pee's still wet on the ground? And then on top of that, I think it was episode 3, Fesco had the same clothes he had on episode 6. These timelines are jumbled on top of each other, and even though we're seeing so much like content, it's still jumbled, and I don't like that. But anyways, I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.